Peter's prediction for cyber nuclear war was all fun and games until now. It actually looks like World War III is about to start. So we're going to continue talking about Ukraine and the cyber attacks that seem to be preceding the invasion that may or may not have already started. Today's Not So Critical update.
It's a big story this week about the DDoS attacks that we talked about last week, which there was a lot of speculation about, and the White House and the UK have officially put the blame on Russia. They have kind of been very unambiguous about who's to blame for this. I think, by the way, in this case, we might want to rename the podcast to the Very Critical Update.
Absolutely
because
critical
it's
world-ending update.
Yeah, this is serious shit now.
I was skeptical last week because every time these attacks, like everybody knows with a wink and a nod, these attacks are coming out of Russia. But it's always, they're sponsored by people connected to Putin, but it's not actually state-sponsored. So I was really surprised that they put out such a strong statement that, no, this is actually coming from Russia.
You know, I'm trying to think back, Mike, and not to downplay the severity of this situation, but I'm thinking back far, far ago where you said, no, you don't think that that's what it was. And I was right. Again.
Yeah.
Kind of hit it right on the nose, actually, regarding it being Russia. And I said, I even said, I believe I said something like, and we could maybe even like go back in time and rewatch, but I think I said something like,
if you send me a clip, I'll put it in.
Yeah. I think I said something like, it's safe to assume that it's Russia. And it is, and
true. It
was safe to assume that it's Russia.
You know, it's a good thing that John isn't the kind of person to say, I told you so, because
I am very humble. Okay.
I'm picking that up. Yes, I understand that.
Humble John.
And I'm grateful for your forgiveness in this case.
Yeah. Because we wouldn't want to like make a big point about the fact that Mike was horrendously wrong and John was completely right.
And I was right again. Right. No.
I mean,
no. That's besides the point.
Why is it? What's different then? We talked every time these attacks happen, we know they're coming from Russia. There are hackers in Russia, but then they're not directly state sponsors. Now we're saying this is actually from the GRU, which is Russian intelligence. Is this a different new kind of attack, or like? It seems shocking to me that this is the first time there's a big news article saying, no, this absolutely came from Russia.
But I don't think it's propaganda. The West has propaganda.
There we
just
go.
Like
now
Russia,
you're talking my language.
Just like Russia has propaganda of what's going on.
But here's, if I can interject, John, or interrupt. I think it's proper. Is there such a thing as true propaganda?
Yeah, of course, definitely. Yeah. You can use the truth to fuel your agenda. Right.
Okay.
And that's exactly what's going on here.
There's also a possibility we downplayed past attacks, the state connection to avoid inflaming tensions, where now tensions are fully inflamed.
They're
and the thing is, look, here's the thing: the White House and the UK government rarely actually come out and say, "Hey, this attack was caused by this entity." Because it's just not something they do. But in this case, they have come out and they've looked at the intelligence and the analysis from their cyber divisions, the NCSC in the UK, and I don't know who it was FBI or something.
And the Not So Critical update.
Yeah. But God, although they would have had to just ignore all that stuff that Mike was saying last time because that wouldn't have helped.
Well, but obviously they know who to listen to.
I was trying to interfere with the investigation. Obviously, my plan failed.
Just a spy, basically. Yeah, you're a counter agent.
Chronologically, we had the attack on the Belarus railway, which was from within Belarus,
but
connected because it was in response to Russian troop movements using the railway. From,
or I shouldn't even say pro-Ukraine, anti-Russia. Right.
Correct.
That's
then we had last week these. Early on we had the attacks against Ukrainian websites, and that at
Ukrainian
that point there
government
was no
websites.
clear no official attribution to Russia. But now in
Right.
the past couple of days there were additional DDoS attacks in Ukraine, and this is what we're talking about now. And as
Yeah.
we record this, today is February 23rd,
Yeah.
Wednesday, and
Yeah. So,
I mean, Russia has started invading, right? They've moved troops into pro-Russian areas of
Under
Ukraine now, right?
under the I guess guise or
guys, peacekeeping.
yeah, exactly. The argument is that they're policing.
Mhm.
And really what's going on is it's just a Russian created false flag for them to have an excuse to do this. Now, America and Europe have instantly set up fresh sanctions against the financial sector in Russia,
And
the UK,
individuals as well, actually.
and individuals. Yeah, correct, right. And it's only going to get worse. And obviously, like we were saying, or like you were saying before, regarding the inflaming the situation has spiraled to where now Europe is saying we need to get them a basically an emergency invite to the EU. And
Yeah.
by inviting Ukraine and hopefully them joining the European Union, what that would do is it would mean that Russia is invading the European Union.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. And that's probably, I kind of hope that will happen, but it's also in a way starting World War III.
Well, it could force them to back off.
Yeah, but if it doesn't,
Then it's Russia versus Europe and America.
Yeah, there's a lot more weight behind that.
That's a large force.
I
love the way you say Putin. Makes him sound kind of small.
Putin. Putin is deliberate. I don't actually know how to pronounce his name.
I think it's
properly.
Putin. Yeah.
Putin. Putin has is not known for his caution and sane reactions and responses. By the way, an interesting fact. Do you know that this happened a while ago with Crimea, where Putin declared, or Russia declared, these areas as being independent states, and that they were able to annex them, as they wanted. I saw a comparison of the decrees that were issued by Russia, saying, and it was like copy and paste.
Yeah,
he didn't even have to write a new decree. Yeah, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that must have been going on in the back of his mind for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I think it's all quite carefully planned out.
It's a tough. Parts of Ukraine are very pro-Russian. The northern part of Ukraine does identify more with Russia. The southern part of Ukraine identifies more with Europe. But it's tough. Even the internal politics in Ukraine are very challenging on this. Obviously, nobody wants to be invaded, but there are definitely parts of the Ukraine that are much more pro-Russia.
Yeah.
Well, it was only, you have to remember, so regarding the contradictory beliefs of the Ukrainian people, we have to remember that the Iron Veil or the Iron Curtain fell only 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. The Soviet Union existed up until, when was it, 1989? Putin, his own opinion is that he was robbed of the Soviet era countries. They were stolen from him, is the way he sees it. And that is terrifying if you think about it, because if you go and look on a map, which I highly recommend you do, and you zoom in a little bit on Europe and Ukraine, you will see why Ukraine is such a hot pick for Russia, because it connects you to all of these former Soviet era countries that are bordering Ukraine. So I think that is a huge and immense interest for Putin and the Russian government, because they would just get to absorb all of Eastern Europe again, which gives them a huge foothold in that continent.
Yeah, when I lived in Prague, so when I got there in 1996, I think it was quite common to come across people who were, who'd lived through the communist era, and it still is. They aren't that old anymore, still. But 20 years ago, it was even more common, and it was astounding me that the Communist Party in the Czech Republic used to get 24% of the vote.
Wow.
Despite having, I know, it's crazy. They are a different party. They have different ideology now. Of course, they're not like the old communist people, but all the old people there would say, "Oh, it was better under the communists." So it's still, from the media and stuff, it feels like it was something that's long past us, but actually, it's not at all in any way.
No.
So, Peter, to go back to the technology of this a little bit, as a security researcher, there have been threats coming out of Russia forever, right?
Yes.
What's different now?
It's nothing really. I mean, there's nothing like fundamentally different. It's still the same shit happening. I think some of the stuff that's been pointed out recently is stuff that other people have been saying for a long time. There was an advisory released today, which was a joint one between CISA and FBI and a whole bunch of agencies that was like, here's some malware that has been linked to Russia in the past and it's become active again recently. This is all tied together. And I think maybe the difference is that the big agencies are spending more resources and time actually looking into this, and because of the propaganda aspect, because there's a war going on, and it makes sense to them to do so.
So is part of it that, like, we would say, like, obviously it's been coming from Russia. Is this finally the veil being dropped, and even Russia's saying, like, yeah, I know it was us for sure?
Yeah, well, I don't know about Russia. They I don't think have confirmed or denied anything. But I saw an interesting thing the other day though, which was about Russia releasing videos of I think it was an evacuation of some sort, and it was claiming that it was on the February 18th, I think.
Oh, that was so funny. Yeah.
Go on, John.
But it was go ahead.
Yeah, so they released a video saying that there was this big evacuation on the February 18th, and this was kind of like justification for all the stuff that they needed to be doing to protect their people. And then someone looked at the timestamp of the video, and it was created on the 16th. So it was all completely staged. And it just sort of, so with regards to like Russia's, what they're saying, it just, there's no point in even looking at it, really.
So,
and the scary thing, so I just want to add, the scariest thing I think about the false flag operations that Putin likes to run is their blatant disregard to details, like the 16th of February timestamp. Why is that scary? Because it's you can see how little they care. If America or Europe or a Western country was to do a false flag operation, every detail would be overlooked, or sorry, like basically like scrubbed out. Everything would be perfect, and you wouldn't even be able to tell that it's a false flag operation until maybe years later. But like here, they just do it. And it almost feels like it's just for the Russian people. Exactly
what I was going to say. It's not for the West at all. It's for the people at home who are watching on telly,
right?
Who just
are watching state-run news and stuff. Yeah,
exactly. It's propaganda. It's internal propaganda, not anything else. Anyway,
so in terms of your prediction, Peter, of cyber nuclear war, does it count if it's an actual nuclear war, or is that you get partial credit for that?
Jeez, I think it's. Unfortunately, it's not even March yet, and there's still plenty of time for my actual cyber nuclear war to happen. I don't really want the nuclear war to count, so I'm going to say no. I'll skip the pizza for that, but I think there's a lot of stuff coming.